Good. How you doing?
All right, welcome to the integration session. I'm Jocie Collins, and I am so honored and stoked to be here with you today. Thank you, Aaron, for joining us live from Arizona. So, integration, what is it? I, for the longest time, have had a very nebulous relationship with this word and what exactly it means when it comes to practicing it and putting those things into play in real time, in real life. And what I've found throughout the years is that paradoxically, integration and my path towards freedom is structure. So I find that giving myself a little bit of structure and setting intentions gives me that firm container where all of the more nebulous visions and things that transpire through plant medicine ceremonies and spiritual ceremonies of the like can have a little container to feel safe and feel held, and you can also examine them, right? Imagine it as a clear container where you're like, "Ooh, what are those little fishies doing in there?" And that's exactly what we're going to get into today. So, let's start with, I know we've only got one this fine afternoon, but let's do a little introduction series where we can talk about what our last, psychedelic or spiritual experience was and the things we're looking to ground through these practices. So, Aaron, would you like to start?
Sure. Okay. So what a recent ceremony that I've had and what I want to ground from it? Okay. All right, I'm Erin or Honey. I go by Honey here. But both work. All right, so a recent ceremony that I had, big themes that came up were one, I just shared this with you about like how grateful and blessed I am, like the friends that I have. I could just feel these like really powerful, deep, anchored connections. So I love there's a little toddler waddling around here. um I can really feel that thread of community and w- on two aspects. One of like how connected we are no matter where we are in the world or in our lives. And then also this like deeper longing to like really ground people together. Another piece that came up in my ceremony um, was with my partner and his readiness to step forward on the path of making babies. And so really anchoring that in. So I guess for me, it's like a big theme of like family, home, community.
Yes, yes, absolutely. You got to have your roots deeply planted for bringing creation and life into this world. I mean, that's beautiful. And thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, I will share vulnerably. I just went back to a place where, in Missoula, Montana, where I lived for almost 10 years and made a really amazing community of outdoor wildlings and river humans. And since moving to Vermont and to be back with my family, I have missed them. I have missed my friends. And so, in a similar vein, I when I had my last psychedelic experience, which was really wonderful, I had um, really amazing space held for me by people who are super close to me. And it was a small, intimate group, but it was so wonderful to have space held and to witness, right? Like there is so much inherent power in being witnessed and witnessing. And so that's what I felt hardcore. And the takeaway from it was I was just like, wow, I could feel it viscerally and somatically in through my body in waves of like how powerful the current of believing in somebody is, or when somebody believes in you, like how powerful that can be. And like, talk about the ultimate demonstration of that, like being a mom, being a parent, like you are the validator of their world and their provider. And what a rich just nugget of wisdom that I feel like that I will take forward. Right. So that is the piece that I personally wanted to integrate, is like that powerful energetic exchange of believing in people and allowing in that good feeling of when others believe in you, which Aaron is Honey is absolutely one of those people for me. So thanks for believing in me. So next up, I want to make this real. Let's make this real, y'all. I want to take about 5 minutes to first write out your definition of integration. Like, really nail it down, get specific. Let's use our word wizardry to really solidify the meaning of this word for ourselves. And then we'll share the definitions. And the second piece of this that I would like to do is, what, with that piece of wisdom or the vision or whatever it is that you want to integrate, what are your action points? What are your touchstones that bring that feeling? Like for me, it's a visceral feeling that bring it back. And you can visit regularly. Like for me, I love picking wildflowers. It is something that reminds me that I am never alone and that I'm always interconnected. Like I have one here today. We've got our little looping guy, and we've got all kinds of wildflowers from around my area. And I just find searching for and cherishing little pieces of nature is one very practical action point way that I connect with myself, connect with the world around me, and then just like take reflection time where my hands and my eyes get to do something. It's like a somatic version of seeking, right? And that's what we're all doing here, going on vision quests, is we're seekers. So, in your truth seeking, what are your little mini ceremonies? So, just that is an example of what a firm and solid action point would be in this exercise. So, take some time, ready your pens, get your pages ready, and I'll just set a little timer for 5 minutes and we'll come on back. Do you have any questions, Aaron? You got that? Locked it. Okay, cool. Okay, that is 5 minutes. And let's just get in there and share what we got. Honey, would you like to go first or shall I?
I can go.
Yeah, get in
Um,
there.
so for me, integration, my definition, um, well, like the etymology of integrity is to make whole. And so I feel like it's connected to that of like bringing all the pieces together. So I like to think of it as like weaving different pieces together, and like bringing them all home. So my action points around community, home, and family. Um, like when you reach out to the ones that you love, like calling and connecting with friends. Um, and then a huge one that I'm actively working on is planning my wedding, which I'll send you more details of soon. We just picked a date like 2 days ago. Um,
Amazing.
but specifically, it's actually going to be kind of a community co-creation event, a very non-traditional affair. So that's very much community building. Um, and then with like the baby pieces, learning about nutrition and exercise to prepare my body, deepening my heart and womb connection. So like slowing down and taking time to just like meditate and tune inward. Um, and then also we are in the process of finding our, I wrote house home because we're like we are home, like wherever we are home, but we also want like the physical structure of a house so that we have a stable nesting place. So yeah, I have a lot of big action steps in the works.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. And big action steps, as you know, can be like broken down into smaller ones. And that's how integration starts to become less nebulous, right? Is that you can take that bird's eye view and be like, okay, what are like 3 things that for the house home, right? Like 3 things that I could do within the next month or once a week or whatever you decide your timeline is that start establishing how to get there, right? Like the very practical action points of I'm going to take a home buying class, or I'm going to, you know, schedule a pre-approval appointment with the bank and see where we're at and what we need to do financially. It's like all of those things have very real action points that can come off of it, and how beautiful that the seed of those very practical things that we're like, we'll make it an appointment with a banker. Like, how's that spiritual? It's like, well, it is when it's in alignment with your most endearing and treasured dreams, right? Of where you want to be going. So amazing. And I can't wait to see what happens. Obviously, I've just gone through all of that process too. So if you need any, whatever logistical assistance in the home buying process, I got you, boo. Okay. So what I put, I actually, you know, even though this is an exercise I invented, I struggled with the definition. I was like crossing things out and then be like, no, that's not quite right. Oh, oh, get in there. But that's life, right? Life is experimenting and trying something and then be like, no, that's not quite right. And then annotating. So there's a beautiful pressure release I find in this integration work with not taking it too seriously. Really important step is to have that playful experimentation. So I wrote the act of making, wait, sorry, the act of shaping, I can read my own writing, the act of shaping a new perspective by making tangible life changes. For example, new rituals, grounding, daily grounding practices, and modes of talking to oneself that support holistic perspective shifts and growth. And that's cool that there's the common thread there, right? Where like holistic and integral are these 2 root words that seem to be very important piece to the puzzle. So I actually circled mine as you were listing your definition, because it is fun to find that those common threads between us, right? As we brainstorm as a group, you can find little words and be like, oh, okay, we've all arrived at like this general conclusion. There must be something there. Let's experiment. Let's investigate this further. And then my action points for the power of believing in one another were homemade gifts and cards that really honor the people I treasure. I being far away from my friends, what a beautiful opportunity to be able to, okay, show you love from afar and send a little care package, or harvest season is coming up. So like sharing the bounty of what's coming out of the garden, or the flowers, or the herbs that are transpiring, like share the small things. Giving thoughtful compliments seems like a easy no-brainer, but I feel like at times, and I'm sure we've all been there, that acknowledgement, it can be few and far between, especially if you're heading back to, say, a corporate job where that's not really a part of the work environment, right? But you can bring that. Like, we can all be the change we want to see in the world, and that is the beautiful part of integration, is that you get to be the hero in your own story, which I find so incredibly empowering. And then my last one was when I feel the impulse to fix things. We all have that pesky, I'm going to fix things, or situations with people, is to instead hold the lighthouse pillar that the people I love, even when they're struggling, that they got this, that they know how to ground themselves. And if they need my assistance, I will be there, of course. But I'm not going to try and fix or tinker with things. I think part of believing is also trusting that everybody's got it. Okay. Um, do you have anything to add on those points, Aaron? I feel like these are conversations we've been having for many moons, and I would love to open it up to your insights around the all of those pieces. Not taking yourself too seriously, playing, experimenting, all of it.
Yeah, I love it. I love it so much. You're just touching on so many powerful ways to like dance in this life. And um I really love what you said of like holding the lighthouse pillar, that they've got this. And I think that that's such a beautiful way to hold the people that you love, or and the people that you struggle with. Like really like just holding a higher vision of like we've got this, like as humanity, like we've got this, we can figure this out. And like I always say, like, I believe the most powerful force in the universe is love, right? Like love wins. And we know as psychonauts that like time doesn't really exist. And so if love always wins, then no matter how dark it gets, how hard it gets, like we know that love's gonna come through. And so like can we hold that vision? Can we hold that space that like the people will ultimately choose love, that we will find our way? Um, so I really love that. And it's also like such a powerful piece of sovereignty, of like everyone being their own creator, like everyone's their own captain of their own ship. And so like the best, instead of like getting in and trying to steer for someone else, no matter like if they're like, usually it's your closest people that you're like, come on, let me just help you. Or it's the people like that really trigger you in a big way. And you're like, why can't I just change this? So like, yeah, really just like holding that light and like living with love, being the example you want to be the change you want to see in the world. But like holding that vision and that optimism, because also thinking on the other side is like, if I'm worried about you, if I'm stressed about you, like I'm just adding more worry and stress to the world, right? So like even though it's not easy, like how can you actually alchemize and catalyze that into like deeper trust and deeper love and deeper like, come on, like cheerleading, we got this. Come on, we got this. So I really love that point. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and thank you for sharing because that first point actually is an epic segue to the next part of this exercise, right? Which is where integration gets to take that next level, right? When you feel like you're in tune with yourself and your rhythms and your world, and you have those little touchstones and grounding points in life that beyond a shadow of a doubt work for you. And of course, they will continue to change and evolve. But I feel like once you've set that neural pathway in motion of this is who I am, and like knowing yourself, right? I read this beautiful quote that is so simple yet so glorious in The Artist Way the other day. In order for self-expression to occur, you first have to have a self to express. And it's like, well, duh, of course, but that is the work that you do here and in integration, right? Is allowing yourself the time to experiment with, like, okay, I'm here trying to make a perspective shift, but what does that look like and feel like in reality? And you talking about that connection and thread with community and how like love is the grounding force of all that matters. Once that self starts to like take shape, it's yearning for ways to reach out and connect with the world around it. And for some people that might be big humanitarian outreach, right, that extends far beyond your community. And for others it'll be like right here at home, right, like in your own family with your own kids, or working within a small town community to get some kind of thing going. And that's what I want to dream about next, right? Because part of being that lighthouse of that, like, not only do we have it, but like you have it, is to dream about that next phase of integration. Whereas, like, you've integrated self, and now we're looking outside of ourselves for the ways we get to share our magic, the ways that we want to be of service to the world, the ways that we want to relate and be connected to our little microcosms, right? As big or small as those nets will be, doesn't matter. It's it's in the quality of that connection. So, the next writing exercise is, if you were able to, all bets are off, right? You have limitless funds, extraordinary resources of time, money, and security. I want you to dive deep, but quickly. So we're going to let quickness be the defeater of that inner censor who's like, oh no, that's too grand. That's too grand. No such thing as too grand in this exercise. 3 lives that would be, maybe they're completely different from your life that you're living now, or maybe they're like somewhat adjacent, But list out 3 lives that you're like, okay, I would thrive in this life. For example, like, I'm whatever, a botanist with a master's degree, and I get to teach children about plants every day. One simple one, but for you, like, just with no holds bar, 3 lives. Okay, I'm going to start a timer for 5 minutes and get as wacky as you wish. Just a quick time check. We're at 3 minutes. Okay, 1 minute remaining. Scribble down those wacky dreams. Okie dokie. That is our little time that we get to explore. And obviously, you can do these exercises to mine for your golden desires for as long as you want. But I do find that in the vein of structure leads to freedom, is that you will be incredibly surprised and awestrucken by if you know you have a small period of time with which to write in, it forces your hand to go almost faster than your brain at times. So you can beat that inner critic who's like, "Oh, no, 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 we can't write about that." It's like, "Nope, we don't have time, so we just keep the pen moving, we keep it writing, and no detail is too small or extraneous to overlook." So, Erin, would you like to share your your kooky and amazing lives with us?
Yes. Um, I love all of these so much.
Yay!
So,
That's
all
the
right.
idea.
Yeah. The first one was like coming out before you had even finished the prompt, but 100% to be a full-time musician, to record all my songs and to be performing my music across the world, similar to how Maria just was with like a big, like almost like the a small symphony behind me, like orchestral but big stages, and getting to just like put those vibrations out onto the planet. The second one is being a mama. And what came through was living in the garden on beautiful wild land with water and bees and mushrooms and flowers, raising the next generation in love. And then this third one took a second and then it clicked through, but it was Wild River Medicine Woman, which is a dream that we've talked about before, but bringing like highly influential people of the world deep into connection with nature on the rivers, in like down through big canyons or like totally off grid where they're just deeply immersed in nature, and then also getting to connect with plant medicine. Um, so into the depths of nature and into deep reflection with their own psyches, bringing leaders back into love, connection with their own wild nature, with the earth's majesty, so they can feel both their power and their vulnerability, and connecting it all through magic. Yay.
Yay! Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for sharing that. I see you in one way or another doing all of those things at some point in your life. And that is the beauty of speaking your dreams into the conversational universe, is that not only do I get the divine honor of witnessing those dreams, but also of like cheering you on, right? So it connects to both of our like integration intentions, right? It's like, I believe in you and you will absolutely do those things in one capacity or another. I have no doubt. And it's amazing that like we only have this one life to live in a flesh vessel. So get out there and do the things you really want to do. Don't just take your second prize. Go for the first one, you know? Be a world superstar diva who gets to sing on big stages and put your vibration out into the world. And I'm sure many of you have heard Aaron's angelic voice, but we have no doubt you will do it. Okay, so I had my 3 crazy lives. And the first one was that I am a wizard school instructor. Obviously, something I've talked to you about for like, close to 10 years now. There's a stone path lined with flowers leading up to a big oaken door, similar to the round entryways you would see at Hobbit houses. The acoustics are grand and there are stained glass windows. We sing, we dance, we paint, we get our hands in the dirt. I said the world is built from expression, empowerment, and earth-based living practices. So that's the first life in in this uh, in this cool future casting project. Second one, I'm a steward of the seas. We dive every day to rebuild coral reefs, checking on the fishies and other aquatic animals. We remove trash and toxins and help to purify the oceans. Yeah. And the third was a surprise to me, which is that's why it's so fun to the speed beats the sensor every time. I'm a flower gardener. I work at my very own botanical gardens, replete with mushroom logs, lichen, mosses, succulents, ornamental trees, and colorful flowers in every direction. There are sweet little waterways and fountains that carve through this tiny landscape. So that's it, and I do find it is helpful to write in little stories, little vignettes of like, I am doing this, this is happening. And if I'm in that world, let my imagination be a little bit more childlike and fluid of like, okay, we're walking down the stone path and then we're arriving at the door. Then what's happening inside of this realm? Um, those are the beautiful things that I feel like children have to teach us in spades of this unfettered imagination. And adults, for whatever reason, we just lose track of it a little bit over the years. But that is a deep part of my own integration is regular commitment to childlike wonder. And that's exactly what this exercise provides. So thanks for playing these wonderful word wizardry games with me. And Erin, do you have any closing notes for this lovely integration session?
Yeah, thank you so much. I also just can see where our visions overlap. Like, and it's like, oh, these pieces fit together. We'll bring our gardens together, and the wizard school,
Yeah,
and the babies, and all the things.
yeah, absolutely,
Take care of the
absolutely.
waters. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, I'm just gonna grab a link really quick. There's a couple, oops, there's a couple opportunities to come to Buena Vida. Buena Vida. If anyone is looking for opportunities to come be in ceremony, check out this link, thebuenavida.net. Um, there's one 7-day coming up in Mexico, and then there in the fall there'll be some in Joshua Tree as well. So it's a little bit of a break until August, and then we'll be up and rolling. And then we always have these Sunday events, and they're free, open to the public. You can bring your friends, share them with your family, wherever you want to send it. And Jocie, thank you so much for sharing your magic, your heart, your wizardry with us. It's such a gift. It's such a pleasure. I appreciate you
Oh,
very much. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. The pleasure is all mine. Thanks for having me. And in the vein of the upcoming events, do you want to just lay out a little timeline of the things to come in our next Sundays?
For integration? Yeah.
Yeah, the next Sunday
Yeah.
session. So we have things to look forward to.
Yeah. So this week was hosted by the lovely Jocie Collins. Also, Jocie, if you have any personal things that you have upcoming and you want to share, you also can plug them in here. Next Sunday, Annalise Evans will be leading an integration sharing circle. And on the 27th of July, Tanya will have a special guest, Tanya, um, doing a special workshop in around personal agreements. So really helpful in setting your own kind of boundaries with yourself and like the standards at which you want to operate in the world. And that is a huge reflector and ripples out of with all your relationships. So um that's for the rest of July here. Those are our upcoming offerings. Thank you, Jocie.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will, yeah, I think that's all I have. So thanks for a wonderful, wonderful integration call. And until next time, so much love to you. Mwah.
Thank you. Bye, love.
Bye.